Hello and welcome to CJB Games, Cameron here, and today we'll be working on the next devlog for Groundskeeping, a first-person multiplayer hotel maintenance horror game. First and foremost, we are going to be continuing working on the slide which we started last time. Having completed the actual slide portion of it, I am now looking to do the steps, the top and the extra details. There are a few parts of this piece, like the steps, that were a simple copy and paste and change of position, so I always made sure to unwrap the first shape before duplicating it, as this would copy the seams over and save a lot of time. So now that the slide mesh is modelled, we can move on to texturing this bad boy. So the look I was going for this was the cheap plastic kids slide look, which is great news for me as it gives me the safety of saying, I know it looks shit, but it's actually meant to look shit. Really leaning into this aesthetic, I chose colours that didn't go well together and saturated them quite a bit. Now hopefully the asset will stand out and make the play area a bit more of a memorable part of the game. Once texturing was complete, I moved straight on to the next piece of equipment that will live in our kids' play area. I decided this next piece would be the swing set. One of the worries I had going into this was how the swings would interact with the player. I want this game to be realistic, and therefore if the player walked into the swings, they would ideally swing and move. Whilst doable, making something like this would take up more time than I would like, so I opted to have the seat and chains wrapped around the top of the swing. This works for me in two ways. Number one, less dev time to create a swing that interacts with player movement, and number two, the swing being wrapped around the metal and looking disused really fits with the narrative of the area. Seeing as I've done a lot of modelling already today, I decided to take a quick break and improve the multiplayer a little bit more. So whilst researching and watching a lot, I attempted to get a lobby system working and fix some of the bugs I was finding along the way. Hopefully now it will work, and we'll know for next time we do the playthrough. Before going back to the swing, I want to do another quick task of actually having the enemy notice the player. This was rather quick, as it's something I've done many times before and it's just basically a few nodes to get it working. Obviously this is just placeholder AI for now, but I felt as though it would spice up the playtest somewhat. So now we can return back to the swing and get the rest of it modelled. This was by far the hardest thing to model yet, with the chain being a standout section. Having a chain wrap around the bar in a realistic fashion was no easy task, but I'm hoping when people would play the game, they would appreciate the small details. Once the first chain was complete however, it became a lot easier as I could copy and paste it with some slight adjustments. So now that the model is complete, we can apply a texture to it. This was a very simple part, as it only comprised of two main sections, the rusty metal for the structure and the worn rubber for the seats. One thing I want to make note of as well is that sometimes my assets can look a little weird, and I think this comes down to me not using any reference for most of them. When it's a personal project like this, I prefer to simply dive headfirst into creating and make everything completely unique, having it plucked straight from my imagination and nothing else. So with the slide and swing both complete now, we can get them into our scene and have a look at how the playground is shaping up. As you can see as well, I figured out the crash that was happening last time, so our foliage can stay in the scene. So that about does it for today's devlog. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, make sure to stick around for the continued work on this game. And if you want to support me further, my previous game, Escape from Violet Institute, is available on Steam right now.